go over this again. 50. Let's go over this again. 50 cars, 50 drivers. 3 classes, 1 champion each. Racing in a variety of race formats and locations. Braving the constantly changing conditions and competition. All for a shot at the fame and glory of being the champion. Welcome to HSR Motorsport GT3 Series. Is it easy? easy racing against these guys? I don't think so. Indecision can cause chaos on the racetrack, while confidence can result in perfection. Drivers will push each other to the limits and beyond, while the champion rises through the ranks to take the ultimate glory. Battles will be fought, won and lost, as drivers fight on tracks all across the globe. There will be fear, pain and loss. There will be courage, pride and triumph. Mistakes will be made, and their consequences could be dire. Precision and skill can only be noticed in the very best. This is racing. This is what we love and do. The question is, what will you do? Hello and welcome to the HSR Motorsport GT3 Season 4 Championship. Today, you join us for round 4 here at Zolder. Yes, we are back in Belgium for the second time in HSR Motorsport broadcasting history, and I'm looking forward to it. First of all, because of that, we saw some great action last time, but also because I feel that's really where all the action started kicking off for us here at HSR. Races 1 through 3 for Season 2, they're alright. We had some great racing, we had some alright moves, it was okay. But the moment we hit round 4 of the Season 2 Championship, we just had an absolutely massive jump in the amount of action seen every single week. And it seems as though the action has only amped up, it's only increased from that point. So almost exactly 2 seasons ago, we are back. And it was actually Season 2, Round 4. So, yeah, it is precisely 2 seasons ago, but obviously, you get the seasons that are different different lengths, sorry. So, obviously, Season 2 was only 6 rounds, Season 3 was 8 rounds. So, technically, it's, I don't know, depends on your definition of a full season. But anyways, we are back, and that's the main thing. Really excited to be here. Now, we do have... Again, I'll just quickly explain the format, not just for the new viewers, because obviously now we've been shaking it up every single week. So this is for even the veterans, this is how it goes for tonight. 45 minutes of practice, followed by 20 minutes of qualifying, and then 2 30-minute races. Now, I'll explain a little bit about what they are for those of you who may not know what those individual sessions mean. And even for those who know about it, yeah, just remind you. So for practice, this is just a time for drivers. We're at the moment in practice. It's the time for drivers just to get down the lines, just to get familiar with the track conditions, just get familiar with the car. Maybe make some final setup changes, because it doesn't usually take 45 minutes to just learn a track, do a complete setup, and you're ready to go. It might do for some pros, but even then they usually have some sort of setup ready to go for those particular conditions. So more than likely it's just drivers trying to get used to the conditions as they are. For those who haven't practiced at all, this is their only chance to do practice, and it actually decreased in time from last season. Last season it was a full hour, but now our drivers have 15 minutes less, and I almost thought of filing my own complaint about this fact, but we have to leave it as it is. Qualifying is next after this, 20 minutes long, split qualifying, which means that the slower cars, or the drivers in the lower 2 categories, which is Pro-Am and Am, they will go out in the first 10 minutes, and then the pros will be going out the second 10 minutes. Now, also again, classes, yes, I haven't mentioned that. classes is also quite an important thing. So how they work is it just basically breaks down drivers into their different skill levels, so they compete against drivers that are similar skill level to them. So at the top we've got pros, then the middle class is called Pro-Am, and then the final class is called Am. Those are kind of that's the lowest class. And they all stand for different stuff: professional, professional/amateur, and amateur. Those are our 3 classes, and I'll explain a little bit about how you can recognize them while we're out on track, while we're watching these guys. But now I'll explain the race as well. So we've got 2 30-minute sprints, no pit stops required. So this just means cars don't have to come in for fuel or tyres during the race unless something has gone horribly wrong. Because of course pit stops cost you a lot of time. So they definitely want to be staying out of that pit lane as much as possible. Ideally not at all. Ideally not go in at all over the race weekend. So in terms of starting positions for the 30-minute sprints, it is quite easy to explain, really. Qualifying is used to set up cars for the race. Qualifying determines where drivers start. Drivers with the fastest time start at the top. Drivers start at the bottom if they've got slower times or the slowest time. It's all in descending order. It goes from fastest to slowest, forwards and backwards on the grid. So fairly simple. Now for the race, both races, they take the quali results. So it's kind of like a reset. No matter where you finish in the first race, you will start from your qualifying position, from your qualifying result for the second race. So that at least helps drivers who maybe have had a rubbish race, who feel like they could have made a move on a particular driver who they noticed. Be like, oh, that guy's a little slower. I might be able to get on him next time, because last race they got shunted in the rear. Or for some drivers, it could is usually either redeem yourself, have 2 rubbish races, in which case you're probably contemplating quitting the sport altogether, which is probably a bit stupid if you do think that, and then the third one is just mid on both. So yeah, it can kind of vary. So all sorts of things that can happen. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the track. It's a confusing one, and it caught me out last time. Officially, it has 10 turns, but it's got 16 corners. So we'll go for a little track run in just a couple moments. But first, we have our interviewee, and yes, it is early to do so, but he specifically requested to have it early so he could get a couple laps in, and yeah, just get some extra practice. Now we are just waiting for the interviewee to turn up at the commentary box. Probably just settling down with the team, putting the car away, making sure they can get the setups ready. And by the way, this is all simulation. By the way, it's not real. I know we've had a couple guys come in, and they're like, "Is this real or not?" And yeah, in case you're wondering, no, it is a video game. It's Assetto Corsa Competizione. But it doesn't mean we can't handle it professionally, you know. Although, to be fair, I'm probably not the most professional commentator during practice. Qualifying is alright. Race, I tend to get my serious voice on. But the thing is, I keep forgetting to vary my tones. I just keep sounding very monotonous all the time. When I get into it, I'm just like, and he's coming around the corner. Not monotonous. It just sounds like this. I'm saying the same thing over and over again, just the same tone over and over again. So and having a cold doesn't help with that as well. Not that I'm in the in the deep, I'm really invested into the cold at the moment, or like really, I don't know, stuck in, but it's it's kind of it's the aftermath. So the usual stuff in the lungs and the nose. But hopefully that will not take away from your enjoyment of tonight's broadcast. And here he is, knocking on the door. Let's see, let's get you in, sir. Let's see how this goes. And there we go, Mr. Johan Huben joins me in the commentary box. How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Good,
Weekend,
good.
Some time to drive. So that's always good.
Absolutely.
But it's bad weather here, so I don't know where you live, but here is whole day raining. So
yeah, we've had similar weather, to be honest. We're kind of really in a really weird time where we've just come out of summer. We've got like 20 degrees weather, and then suddenly the rain's just come in, and there's storms. And this afternoon, Mum sent me a text saying, "Watch out for tornadoes." So yeah, all sorts of stuff going on.
That's true. That's true. Normally we should have rain race now this evening.
Yeah, and I mean Spa's usually also quite rainy, isn't it? Whenever we go over there.
Yeah, Spa also, yes. But here, this Zolder is pretty close to where I live. So I went there to see the 24 hours with Kurt Peters. So yeah, it was fun.
Oh, brilliant. Cool. Now, I know you said you wanted to keep the interview somewhat short so that you could get round to practicing, so let's hop straight in. But we'll start with just like a fun question. Is the Nissan GTR your favourite car? Why or why not?
For the moment, yes. I like driving in it, so I how do you say it? I started with the McLaren.
Yeah.
Then I drove with the Beamer, and now I said I want to try something else, and it's going well. Last season also, and I said I'm going to try to do it again. So for the moment, it's okay.
Ah, brilliant. Yeah, I mean, what about the GTR made you pick that car instead of something else? In terms of handling, was it oversteery, more understeery?
No, I wanted to have a car where I could, how do you say it?
Slide.
Make more speed in the to overtake. With the other cars, I had problems to overtake another one, and now I'm driving away when they are behind me in the corner. So that was one of the points I wanted to try out. But it's going good for the moment. So
yeah, I mean you've been doing fairly well.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my best. So only the win is not there, but I'm pretty consistent this season. So only the qualify that's not my kind of how you say it.
It's not your strength.
But I love to start at the back, so I see everybody go into the sand and I pass them. So that's also a strategy.
Yeah, that consistency. Well, I mean, yeah, as you were just saying, so far you've had 4 podiums so far in this season. And even last season, you also had 4 podiums, and one of them was a race win. How do you feel last season went for you?
Really good. Only the last race at the Nordschleife, that was not my thing. So I I tried to. I did my best, but I couldn't go any faster. So
Yeah.
it was yeah. The other ones were faster. You say Aaron Manship and Fuller. They just were faster, and I had to speculate on making them mistakes to keep to keep second place or maybe the first place. But yeah, I was in second place when we started. So, but it was a very nice season of my first season here with you guys, and it was yeah, it was very fun, and that's what I like to do. I want to have fun when I'm driving and not nothing else. That's what I want to do, and for the moment I'm still enjoying. So
Oh, brilliant. Good, good, good.
yeah, yes.
Nice. And how about this season? Has it kind of lived up to your expectations so far in terms of your performance?
Um, yes, maybe a little bit. I tried. I always want to win, of course, but yeah, there are also some fast drivers in the AM class. So we'll see. I just keep doing my best and try to be consistent, and then we'll see at the end of the season.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. Just keep pulling, just keep pushing the consistent results. Because I was looking at the standings actually for the AM class, and Rucraft so far he's had 3 podiums, one of which has been a race win. And of course, you know everyone wants that race win. You know, the most points. But you are tied on points with him, and you have 4 podiums. And yeah, like you said, just that consistency. You've only been switching between P2 and P3 every race so far. Today's a double header. You do that again, you're going to be earning a lot more points than Rucroft if he, I don't know, crashes out the first one and then, you know, wins the second one, stuff like that. So, like you're saying, consistency is just key here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We yeah. If you can, I don't have to be the fastest. I am not the fastest because there are some guys that are faster than me. But yeah, if you make a mistake, like last race also, it was a very tricky one on Alton, and yeah, I made some minor mistakes, but I could keep it on track, and I had to avoid here and there some difficulties. But yeah, if you can do that throughout the whole season, then I think you can go as far, but look where it ends. It would be nice if I get first of all a win this season, and maybe the championship will see, but then there's still 4 or 5 races to go, so that's too much points to earn. So.
Yeah, and I mean that was actually, I forgot to mention it. Yeah, this is round 4 of 8. So technically speaking, once we get the races out of the way for today, we're officially halfway through the season. So yeah, like you said, there's still plenty of races that you can gain points, plenty of races that you can still lose points as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So we keep looking race per race, and yeah, we'll see. There can be a race which doesn't go good. So, but yeah, okay, we can how you say skip a race throughout the season. But we'll see. I try to drive every race, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's it. And now about the track now. You've said previously that Zolder is not your strongest track.
Well,
but now that you've got some laps in, do you feel a little more confident?
Not that much, but it's more. Most of the time, when I do the practice in the days before the race, it doesn't go that well. And in the race, I also mentioned it to Kurt Peters that in the race it's always going much better than in the practice. So I hope that will be also this evening. But it's the especially the chicanes that are difficult to take. So yeah, we'll see what happens within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I only can do my best, so we'll see what it
See what
takes
happens. Yeah.
at the end of the 30 minutes. And
Oh,
I
brilliant.
don't I don't know how much I saw some new names also in the AM again. Not or I
Sorry.
think for the first time. I think there are some one or two new ones in the AM.
Yeah. So there were. I think well, last week obviously we had Story come in, and he just
Yeah,
absolutely annihilated you guys. But
yeah,
that actually them swapping into another class gave you
yeah.
the podium. So I'm sure it's kind of bittersweet for you. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think we might have one or two new drivers overall, and
Yeah.
I think one of them might be in the AM class. But I think it was a really very recent addition to the grid. So
Okay.
we'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, of course. Maybe he knows the track well. I don't know, but it's a tricky one here. So you have to keep the focus,
Yeah.
especially in the chicane. So and my car doesn't like too much curves, so he's really slippery in the practice. Maybe when it's optimum in the race, it'll be better. I hope so.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of also the thing about this track is also it seems like quite a tight track. I've raced on it before as well, and it doesn't feel like it's one of those tracks where it's great for racing. It's one of those tracks that's great to drive for qualifying and practice and hot lapping, but when it comes
Yeah,
to the actual race, it's quite difficult to overtake. So
yeah,
qualifying
yeah.
is really quite important here, especially with our two 30-minute sprints, because you start from that same position on the second race. So I guess, are you going to be trying to focus a lot on the qualifying and then, maybe have a little less energy for the race,
Uh,
or is it just 100% all the way?
no, I always try to do my best at the quali, but it doesn't come the best out at the end. But I always want to be high in my class then. But we'll see. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, as
if there if there is not much traffic, I always try to go out on the last, but it's a small track, so I have to keep in mind that I don't get into traffic from the guys that are already around the track to set a lap time. So, but well, we'll see. I'm
yeah.
confident.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's the end of the interview. I'm conscious you want to get out there to do some more laps. I think you've got another 20 minutes or so. So best of luck, sir, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you very much, and have a great evening.
You too, sir. Good night.
Okay, good night. Bye bye.
And that was Johan Huben. Now, he's one of our newer drivers. As you heard, he joined last season for the first time and immediately impressed. He was pulling out podiums left, right and centre, pulled out a race win, and we actually had an absolutely awesome end of season finale, round 8 at the Nordschleife battle for P2. It was absolutely epic. He'd unfortunately qualified really far down the grid, and his rival was Manchep, as we heard slightly earlier, the name mentioned. They were rivals in the AM class. Manchep had qualified quite high, Huben literally dead last, and they were separated by only a point, and about 10 minutes from the end they swapped positions after Huben had managed to close that gap, and then literally final lap I looked again and it was reversed again. So yeah, as we heard, he was happy with the results, but yeah, he's pushing for a race win hopefully this season, and just that consistency to keep pulling in consistent points finishes, because as you heard, Rucroft, he's got a race win under his belt. He's going to flex it out. He's going to say, "Oh, I won at Alton Park, yada yada." Yeah, but so far you've only had 3 podiums, and the race win was one of them. Huben's got 4. So, I mean, I'm not saying Rucroft is that guy. He's definitely not. He's a really chill guy. But yeah, it's just that kind of, I don't know, that mentality of, oh, if I'm faster, so I'm better. But you know, if you crash every second lap and you've got absolutely brilliant pace, it doesn't help, because you're going to be crashing, you're going to be losing extra time. So it's a balance. You need to have a balance between pace and consistency, and the drivers that are the best in the world manage to balance that very well indeed. They've got a really good ratio between the two. So some drivers, you know, they're obviously faster than others, but they might be slightly less consistent. And it's those small gaps that really just come in and kind of change a championship sometimes. So, while we've been yapping for... How long has it been? It's almost been half an hour. No, 15... Yeah, it has almost been half an hour. Let's start actually looking at the grid for practice. So... As we heard, one of our new drivers joining us today for the first time is going to be, if you give me a moment just to set it all up as we get our race graphics up to speed, Savarowski in the, I don't know why I keep relating it to an Aston Martin, because it's big, because it's got similar headlights. In the Ford, in the Mustang, is Savarowski, and unfortunately his livery has not loaded. Unless he's like Chard and he likes to go in all black, but no, that's a pure carbon finish. So yeah, Savarowski, one of our new drivers at HSR and in the season. So we'll have to see how it goes for him. He's in the Pro class now. Remember earlier I said I would kind of clarify a couple points about. Oh, sorry, not clarify a couple points. I would clarify. How you can identify pros, pro-ams and ams. So Savarowski, if you look at his name on the leaderboard on your left as he goes sliding through turn 8, if you take your leaderboard after looking at that slide, you have the positions on the left hand side, as you can see highlighted at the top in the red, the number 1, because that's Savarowski set the fastest lap, and obviously his name just to the right of that. Then you've got the car manufacturer. We'll just go from left to right. So you've got position number, name, car manufacturer, car number, and the background for that car number it shows you which class they're in. So white, as we see with Savarowski at the moment, is a pro. White means pro. Grey, as in for P4 E Limburgs or P7 for Fox, have a grey background. That is for Pro-Am. Almost said Fox again. That is for the Pro-Am class. And then finally, all the way back down in P13, P14, that's where they start. The red backgrounds, that's for the Am class. And if you're wondering what Am or Pro means professional, Am means amateur. So really simple to remember. Another little overview of the session. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We have 15 minutes left in practice before we hit qualifying. 20 minutes of split qualifying where the Pro-Ams and Ams go out first for the first 10 minutes, and then the Pros go out for the second 10 minutes, and then we've got 2 30-minute sprints lined up for tonight. So no pit stop action, hopefully. Fingers crossed. If there is any pit action, it's definitely going to have negative connotations. It means someone's crashed or someone's had some sort of damage and is not having a good day. But yes, so now we've only got 15 minutes to do my livery walk, because that's what I quite like to do in the 45 minutes or so that we usually have practice. So Savarowski, obviously, no livery. Lavagnos in the Mercedes Petronas team livery. Marcy in the Aston Martin somewhere. The camera, I always remember this camera pan is a bit slow. There we go, in the Aston Martin. Again, same as usual, simple, it's alright. And Limburgs, a new rookie sensation. He turned up at Alton Park last week for the first time. One of 3 Lambos in the entire season. And he, in his first race with us, got a podium, but not only that, it was a race win. So our round 3 race winner, Limburgs, going around in his Lamborghini, and I think he did have a change of heart with the livery. He was running a pink, kind of lime/yellow livery last week, but now he's running a fresh green, red and white livery. it definitely seems like some sort of Italian colours to it. Although the green is a little dark, but I like it. It's got all these different colours that don't seem the best matching, but he's sort of, I don't know, it's kind of, I don't know, high to mid for me. I feel like it could probably be married a little better, and you know, we'll just have, it's all right at the moment. Then in P5 we have Rebecci in his usual Omega Motorsport Italia livery, red McLaren. Rebecci's been on a revival run this season. Jackson in his usual purple and yellow livery. Oh, and I only noticed that's kind of like a diamond texture he's got to it. Oh my goodness, that's absolutely awesome. Every week you see these tiny little details that that just pop out to you, and I see also the diamonds and the HSR logo on the top. Then down in P7 is going to be Fox, one of our Pro-Am drivers. Again, running a very similar livery to what he's been running usually. Kind of black, grey, silver, but he's got kind of the M branding and a little bit of HSR. I thought initially it was just a regular, it was a regular livery, you know, a default livery that you can just load anytime. Whoa, that's a nice BMW going past. I'll have a look at him in a second. But yeah, Fox, again, this is, I think he does his own liveries, I think. And yeah, he's snuck in those little details that make it look like it's an actual livery, but he's put in those customization features. Schubert now in P9, one of our pro drivers, has been struggling slightly this season, I think, in terms of pace, but he's still going strong in a Ferrari, and he's gone for a new livery, kind of like a sky blue and red, and that's reminding me a lot of Christoph's livery. If you've raced with us before or watched any of our streams before, any of our broadcasts, you'll know who Christoph is and you'll know what his car looks like. So, oh, hello there! Almost went to the moon. Schubert getting some airtime over the Klein chicane. Now, I speak Afrikaans, which is kind of an African language, and the word Klein in Afrikaans means small. As you can imagine, I find the irony quite funny. So yeah, basically Schubert got launched half a meter into the air by a small chicane. Makes you wonder what a massive chicane, isn't it? Cool. Then down in P10, Kurt Peters, as we heard, another Belgian out on the grid today, hoping for a home race win, I'm sure, as Huben does. Then we've got Story in the red McLaren. Also, again, rookie sensation last race. Turned up in the AM class. Turned out to be faster than some pros. So he's been promoted up to the pro division, which is only fair. And the thing that's tricky with this is every time there's a class swap or a driver that changes class, it means that the standings get all weird, and so as a commentator, as you're doing it, you just call it as you see it. So, for example, Story won last race in the AM class, but because he's now a pro, all those standings are updated. So Huben, as we heard, he would have finished before in the last race at Alton Park, but because Story was the one only won by so far, and he got swapped into a different class, it means that Huben got promoted up into P3 because obviously there was an absent position. So there's all that stuff that you need to take into account. But anyways, on to P12. We've got Warburton in that red and white Mercedes with a little Union Jacks on the winglet tips going off at turn 4. So yeah, unfortunately we saw plenty of action from him last time and not the best. Oh, hello, Mr. Pennell, you join us again. Now, this guy apparently, this driver has recently got a proper rig, and he's also upgraded from a G29 to an R5. So I think this is going to be his first race with us using that new setup. So I think he'll be looking at, I don't know what he'll be looking at. Well, he'll probably be looking at his steering wheel and the screen. But in terms of race position, I don't know where he'll come out. Whether he'll really adopt the force feedback feeling, whether he'll just take that on board and just absolutely smash all the other AM drivers, or whether he's just going to, I don't know, suffer. It's a bit tricky trying to adapt to the different force feedback settings. And we've got Craddock joining us again. Oh, hello, in a sky livery, and I think that's his default skin, but I still love it. It's got those little splashes of colour, but white. It's not too complex. It's got some really nice branding to it. I like it. So good livery from Mr. Craddock. Even last season, it was absolutely lovely. He had like a gold and black livery, so it was absolutely awesome. Woo! And we've just jumped a whole load of drivers. Let's go to Zolder, who I think is one of our newer drivers. Well, not newer, one of our newest drivers. And he comes out in a McLaren. Ooh, green on the back, red on the front. I like that. It's those Italian colours, but it doesn't seem like it should fit as well, but they do really nicely. Oh, hello V. No, hi V. Not hello, hi V. No, I was just saying like hello there. It's a lovely livery. I love it. It's stunning livery. Top job. Then we've got Conti in the second Nissan on the entire grid, the entire championship. Conti in that blue. Again, I've already commented about this, but it's an all right livery. It just gets a bit old after a while, but this one is still up close. You get these small details that you pick up, and it just refreshes it. It's like, oh, lovely. So yeah, I do like this. It's got this little highlights of white on that front splitter. Oh yeah, lovely. Love that car. Then we've got Alfred, and initially I thought it was just a blank lime and yellow car, but obviously, as we said, you just come in close, you see all these details, you're like, whoa, lovely, I love it. So yeah, again, great livery. Again, one of those more simpler designs, but I do still enjoy it. Then we've got Janssen in a DSRT livery in a Porsche. Now, we've never seen this before. We've only seen DSRT liveries on BMWs and Mustangs and Ferrari so far. So seeing it on a Porsche is epic. I do quite like it. I can't quite see where the rear brake lights are, but it'll light up, so you'll see that. But the front looks absolutely awesome. It looks lovely. So yeah, the DSRT livery is a fairly solid one. Then of course we've got Huben, who we were just chatting to earlier, also a Belgian driver. And as we heard, he was the original GTR driver for Season 3. As we see Jackson in the background, hiding behind a Pirelli poster. We can see you, sir. Unfortunately, the cameras do not miss someone hiding behind a Pirelli brake point, if you will. Although that wouldn't be a brake point for very long in the race, will it? As the drivers push the cars and inevitably collide with something outside of the racing line. Then we've got Roycroft, who we were chatting about earlier, in his trademark dark blue, red and white livery. And last season we saw a really nice progression actually in terms of his livery. I don't think it was actually last season. We saw some significant changes, but it wasn't the most progress. It kind of built up over 2 seasons, and it was just absolutely awesome. So I hope he does the same again. Start with a simple one, maybe run it for half a season, and then start bringing in little changes to make it really nice. So it's an alright one at the moment. Then we've got Malott, who is of course the man you go to first when you want a livery at HSR Motorsport. So if you plan on joining the server, then go to this man if you need a livery, because he can do pretty much anything. And as we see, he's ripped out a Castrol livery for the Honda, and I'm saying it does look quite fresh. I've never really seen a livery on a Honda like this. It's okay. I love the branding. Like, that is absolutely awesome. Like, Castrol and Honda, I think, do have a history together, and it does look really nice. But yeah, I don't think it's just not my favourite colours. I think that white, and then, but it's, again, like I said, just that trademark, just that branding is just really cool. It's really cool to see these, these things that go from real life into the Sims. It's awesome. Then we've got Taylor in his usual McLaren, hiding behind that BMW, yellow and red, with a spider somewhere around the car. Then we've got Reaper, a new car, a new driver, yellow, and I think I saw some dark blue in there. Yeah, there we go. Now I wonder whether he styled this to look almost like a Carrera Cup car. That's what I'm wondering. Just that usual kind of Porsche race car. Kind of. Again, very simple, very, not very complex, but it still looks absolutely awesome. It still looks brilliant out on the racetrack. So yeah, Reaper, I rate it. It's all right. 456 is the number. so you can practice your canting tonight. Here we go. Brum is back. We didn't really see too much of him last season. We saw plenty of him in Season 2. But now he's finally back and he's in the YAM class in a BMW. Actually, we did see Brum this season already. We saw a massive battle between himself and Penel at Zandvoort, and he was rocking a kind of similar livery if you take away all the orange. It was kind of a white / grey. It was kind of like an icy, if you think of ice and kind of, I don't know, an Arctic livery, similar to that. But he's obviously brought in some orange bits here and there. Again, very quite simple, not much branding on the car, but you know, you don't need that. It does look quite nice. The colours are, I don't know, the colours might need a bit of work, but it's kind of going for the same vibes, I think. And next is going to be Van Lagen, also in a DSRT Porsche, so it's going to be difficult to distinguish between these two, Van Lagen and Janssen. And I keep mistaking them. I keep messing them up somehow. Then we do have Mishka in that BMW. He's also a livery provider, a livery maker in that BMW. He rocked up in a really nice livery last week. It was kind of blue, white and black, and now it looks like just white and black with some photo thingies on the side. I'm curious as to what they are. We can't get close enough to have a look at the moment, but I'm sure at some point we'll see what it is. Then we've got Manchip in that orange and blue McLaren hiding in the background. Again, very iconic livery for a race car in the past. So great to see that branding coming to life. Then we've got Tyler, who we haven't seen too much action from this season, but he's in a Porsche as well. We do have loads of Porsches this season. Initially it started out with just 3 or 4 of them, but now they've turned out in force. I think a couple of drivers did ask for some car changes. This is one of them. But no, I can't remember whether Tyler was racing in a Porsche earlier or not. And if it could, just keep it within the racing line. The camera operator doesn't like it when you go behind the camera. It scares him because you know, if it's scary for him, you know, sitting right on the track curb. So, anyways, rolling down the track in a dark green and red livery again. I don't know what it is with the green and red, but it seems to be a common livery today. But it's alright. It's okay. It's not fantastic. It's not brilliant. It's kind of alright. Then Hewlett snuck in that red. I can't really say red McLaren because Rebecci's right next to him. So it's kind of the one that says HSR Motorsport on the side. The McLaren. It's kind of white, black, and red, and that's a livery made by Mishka, and it just looks really professional, really, really nice. And I think this was a race where Hewlett was actually performing really quite well last season, but unfortunately just lost out to some unpredictable circumstances, i.e. Milan. And so who else do we have to look at? Story, Warburton, Pfeiffer, Pinel, Neville. I think that's it. We do have 30 drivers on at the moment. So our top 3 for each class as practice comes to an end is Safarowski, then Rebecci, then Hewlett for the Pro class, and for the Pro-Am it's Limburgs, Fox and Warburton, and the AMs it's Pinel, Craddock and Zawada. And drivers now will be wrapping up. I'm sure they'll be getting their quali setups. Now, as we were saying a bit earlier, if this is your first time joining us, we've got 20 minutes of qualifying coming up next. 10 minutes for the Pro-Ams and the YAMs, 10 minutes for the Pros. So that way drivers can just stay out of each other's way and kind of keep the track a little more neat. So Safarowski into the pits. Who else is still out there? Rucroft is still out. Coming down the final straight. Car 456. Who was that? That's Reaper, but he has finished his lap. Car 197 also finished his lap, so it is just Rucroft. So we are getting ready to start qualifying. And there we go, the end of practice. Now the beginning of qualifying. Join us in just a couple seconds. And here we go, qualifying is now underway, and we have some drivers absolutely launching themselves out of the pit lane to get this stuff started. Yes, you do get some, well, I'm one of them, to be honest, because I'm in the Pro-Am class when I'm racing GT4s. But yeah, the moment you load in, you've already got your setup handy. You just click drive and you just get out of there as fast as you can. Because of the traffic, it's not an outlap on a race. Unfortunately, there is no ghosting on this, so you know, if you get stuck behind someone, you're stuck. You crash into them, you crash into them. That's how it is. It's not like F124, and that is the one thing that makes it a bit tricky for me when I'm commentating for that F1 Championship. Is every time I just see someone go something like, yeah, realism down a notch. So, but you know, I still enjoy it. Anyways, Pennell going to be the first to cross the line and start qualifying. Pennell's had a bit of an up-down season, I think. He's had some really horrendous races. He's seen the wall a couple times, but at the same time, he's also had 2 podiums, one of which was actually a race win, and funnily enough, it was at the same race where he had his worst race result so far. P11, race 1 at Zandvoort after just some horrendous crashes, and then the second race we had, probably I would say definitely one of the biggest, if not arguably the biggest crash in HSR Motorsport broadcast history, and he just flew through that like Lightning McQueen. If you literally think like Lightning McQueen is going left, right, jumping over cars, that was Pennell through the chaos at turns 2, 3, and 4 at Zandvoort. So yeah, race win for him there in that race, and then P11 obviously for the first race. It was a redemption 100% for this guy. Now before, he was running a lime and green and black livery, and it looked a lot like Verbru's livery. And if you know who Verbru is, well, sorry, I should say if you don't know who Verbru is, he was last season's AM class kind of guy to beat. He was absolutely sending it, and I don't think he's here this season. Oh my goodness, and Pennell into the grass. That will invalidate his lap time. The driver who won't invalidate his lap time, though, is going to be Fox, coming past over the line, and he's going to be the first driver to set a time of 129.4. And yeah, I can't really comment as to how that will go for him at this point in time, because you know, there's still another 20 cars to set a lap time. And I have to say, the attendance for today's race is actually brilliant. We've got 30 drivers out there, and on such a small track, I'm sure it will feel quite tight. And here we go, the Pro-Am times coming in. Janssen yet to set a lap time. Who else? Pfeiffer, Alford. So we've still got Taylor, Novell and Manchip to set lap times as well. But at the moment then, Limburg's in the Lamborghini holding provisional pole. Fox in P2, Pfeiffer P3. Now Pfeiffer has only recently been up, well, I don't want to say, I don't know, it's not really it's a promotion, you could say, but at the same time, like, in terms of your level of racing against the other drivers, that kind of goes down in terms of your pace against the others, because obviously you're racing in a different class. But after that little ramble, Pfeiffer in P3, he was in the AM class before. He won the race at Imola, and that so far was his podium in the AM class, but obviously that just meant he has unfortunately just finished in the podium positions for his class, which he is in right now. Fox comes across the line, and for the AM class we've got Craddock in the McLaren putting in some effort. Pennell, then Conti, P2 and P3. Conti, hello. We don't usually see you up here so far up. He has been struggling slightly for pace a little bit, and you can see these drivers pushing their cars. Warburton in the Mercedes comes across the line for P3, and I think Limburgs has set another lap time, an even faster lap time, to cement his position at the top of the grid. P1 for the Mercedes driver. Cool. Now let's see. Craddock. Oh, Conti's just set a faster time. Conti now up to P2. He's set a faster time than Pennell. Let's see how Pennell responds. He's just coming through the final couple sectors. He's improving on his time. He's almost 8/10 up as he comes through the final couple sections into turn 9 now, and that's really where we'll see a lot of moves today. That's where we saw a lot of moves previously. And was that a bit of dust to the right hand side of our screen? I think so. Is that a car off? I don't know. We can't see anything at the moment, but the BMW hurtling its way into turn 11. And yes, it is multiple corners, but it is apparently classed as only one turn. Out of the final corner, over the line. Where does Pennell come out? Oh, Pennell takes provisional pole. Hello there, sir. Welcome to the front of the grid. Even faster than Warburton. So Pennell, just watch out. You might get promoted to the Pro-Am class at some point. Who knows? So at the moment then, it's Pennell, Craddock and Conti. How will Warburton respond? He's literally just invalidated his lap time, so that's unfortunate for him. Pfeiffer, Warburton seems to be on a run, trying to improve on his time. Absolutely flying, absolutely sliding his way through turn 2, and unfortunately into the barriers as well by the sounds of it. Pfeiffer also flying past through turn 2 on the Ferrari. He is P3 in the Pro-Am class. Only 3 minutes left to qualifying. Yes, the time has already run out for these guys almost in the Pro-Am and the Am class. And that is the unfortunate disadvantage of having a split qualifying. Yes, it keeps the track cleaner, but at the same time it means you just have less time for qualifying. You have half the time of qualifying. But it just means also that the pros, who will generally be the most frustrated by the pace of the drivers ahead, they have more space on the track to just go nuts. Ooh, and I'm seeing a juicy time from Manchip behind as well in P4 for the Pro-Am class. Pfeiffer himself on an improvement, but obviously he's got that Porsche head. So he's probably thinking slightly, oh man, this guy's going to affect my pace. Hopefully not though. Hopefully not. Alfred is in the Pro-Am class though as well, so there shouldn't be too much of a change. But the annoying thing about qualifying as well is you can't overtake. You're not allowed to overtake unless the driver obviously just goes off or just gives it to you. And Alfred, was that a mistake and he went into the barriers, or just wide so that Pfeiffer could come across? Pfeiffer up to P2. There we go. That's what we were waiting for. But a little further down, Manchip seems to be pushing hard. Where does he come out? The McLaren in that orange and blue livery. Where does Manchip come out on the grid? Manchip takes P2 away from Pfeiffer. So we've got this battle for P2 going on between the McLaren and the Ferrari. Only 1 or 2 more laps for these two drivers. Fox has invalidated his lap time, so he won't be putting up any more lap times. But I think Limburg's opted for just a single lap. 128.1. That was fast enough for him. And obviously Manchip still almost a whole second behind that time. So Limburg's obviously assumes these guys aren't going to be making any progress on him at some points in the future. Some of the Am times, Brum looking particularly quick coming out the final corner. Where does he come out? Brum progresses only 1 position, but that is P4 for his class, so not too shabby. Craddock at the top wants to be improving on his time in the McLaren, and it's brilliant to see Craddock out here again, and it's brilliant to see that different, it's a very different livery that we've seen on a McLaren. We've not really seen a livery like that on the McLaren before, but literally final lap now for everyone out on track. And it looks like the Pro-Am standings are going to stay that way. Limburg's, then Manchip, then Pfeiffer, and then for the Ams it's going to be Pennell, Conti and Craddock, our top 3 for both classes. However, Craddock does seem to be improving on his time. He has unfortunately invalidated it, so that is Craddock's time then unfortunately deleted essentially, and he's just unable to do that because it is 10 minutes. We've hit that barrier now it's time for the pros to come out and do their thing. So everyone in the Pro-Am and Am class now need to duck into the pits. Novell though, oh my goodness! I literally looked at the gap and it was a couple seconds he had improved. And literally final corner, he was frustrated. Ah, mate. I hate it when that happens. So Novell unfortunately unable to improve on his time. Now the pros come out, and I think 54 is at the front of that little group. Zarowski, 98 is who? 98 is Van Lagen. Zawada coming around the track in the McLaren behind. Does Zawada know? I think he might have just crossed the line before the 10 minutes started, so I'm not sure whether everyone will be happy with his progress, especially considering his speed at the moment, considering his time. He is improving rapidly, but he has invalidated his lap time, so it's no worth to him. Now we do have to remember as well, it's his first race, so I wonder whether anyone has told him, like DM'd him, or if he knows about it, that it's split qualifying, as in he needs to stop, as in he can't race. And Marcy obviously is going to get really upset. He's going to be like, yo, what you doing, bro? Please speed off into the pits, please. No. Okay, so Zawada seems as though he's unaware of the rules, and yeah, they've had to disqualify him just to get him back into the pits. But I'm sure they'll lift that penalty in a second. So then, that's the end of our qualifying for the Pro-Ams and the Ams. Limburgs takes pole position for the Pro-Ams, followed by Fox and Manchip for P2 and P3. Then in the Ams it's going to be Pennell, Conti, and then Craddock. So we had some tight battles for those positions. Story just coming across the line now, I think, to start his first flying lap. Yes, and 54 is going to be the first driver to set a valid lap, and I think that is going to be Safarowski. It's going to get into my head, Rafasowski or something, like, you know, I don't know. It's a bit weird. Safarowski. I need to keep saying that name so I don't get it wrong, or I don't, you know, in the heat of the moment. Looks like Jackson's had a bit of trouble down at turn 7. Hope he's okay. Right, so Safarowski first across the start/finish line. What is going to be his time? What's the time to beat for today? Oh, it's actually slower than Limburg's, but you have to expect that for the first lap. Tyres are obviously not 100% up to temperature, especially around such a short track. Safarowski up into P2 overall, P1 for his class, but that is provisional, obviously. Oh, and Rebecci quite close there. Lavagnos not too far off, faster than Peters. Schubert now sets a time, faster than Peters as well. Peters seems to be struggling slightly. The Belgian at essentially a home track. Safarowski already on an improvement. Rebecci unfortunately at a deficit. Oh, yay! Again, the Klein chicane, that small, quote-unquote small chicane, giving us huge problems, not small ones. Now, Lavagnos seems to be improving, and we've seen some fairly decent performance from Lavagnos, both in the past and today. He's pushing his card hard, which is brilliant. I think I just said card hard, not car hard. Oh well, same thing. They're pretty much down at net 0, so let's get some stats up. Lavagnos with a single podium this season, so he's going to be pushing for a second one, and he's in a relatively good position if it stays this way. Now, where are the other pros though? We've still got Jackson, we've still got Hewlett, we've still got Marcy, we still have Mishka to set some times. So Lavagnos across the line. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. Safarowski just crossed the line as well. He's on an improvement run too. Then we've got Schubert just coming out the final corner. Story and Schubert just swapped positions. Where does he come out? Schubert up to P4. And I just saw Marcy overtake was it Peters before? No, it was Lavagnos before. So there we go. Now the lap times start pouring in. So Safrowski on pole for the Pro Class, then Rebecci, then Marcy. And we're currently following Schubert, who is in P4. So now we've got to follow Jackson and Hewlett to set their first lap times. Hewlett sets his first, and Hewlett takes pole position with his first attempt. Well, hello there. Welcome to the race. Nice to see you again, mate. Here's Jackson now coming out the final corners. He still has to set an actual valid lap time. So we're all watching now, Jackson. The pressure's on. We're just waiting for you. 4 minutes left in qualifying for all these pro drivers to set their times. You can see they're pushing hard. They know how important qualifying is here at Zolder, as we were talking about earlier. It's a very tight track. It's not the most ideal place for overtaking, so qualifying is really quite essential, especially as especially with two 30-minute sprints. And car number 3, sorry, if you guys are putting anything in the text chat, then I do apologize if I don't get around to it or see it. It's just, especially during qualifying and the actual race, I just don't get time to. I'm just too busy looking at the cars. But car 3 apparently has requested Mishka, so give us just a second. So here we go. Jackson though first across the line. Where does he come out? There we go, just above Story. So P12 overall for Jackson. That's going to be P9 in his class. So Jackson, give it more, bigger push, man, bigger push harder. The Vanyos seems to be on a positive delta coming through turn 7, and I forgot to do the track walk, actually, the little track guide. Here's Mishka in the BMW, and yes, I would say that livery has loaded. Obviously can't see the little detail on the side with that film, I don't know what you call it, that film roll something, but yeah, it has loaded. Safarowski now up into pole position, 127.6. Someone has finally beaten that Pro-Am driver. Hewlett now in P2, Mishka P3. So Mishka putting in the effort. Mishka performing here at Zolder today. And Lavagnos comes across the line. I was just telling you about him. Lavagnos now up into P2 for his class. So really pushing hard. Great to see Lavagnos up at the front of the grid. Rebecci down in P6 overall and P5 for his class. He'll be looking to make some improvements because, of course, Rebecci has been the only driver so far to really challenge Topinka. And, of course, he took the race win last week and he almost got a podium and almost got the race win from Rebecci at Imola as well for round 2. But unfortunately, due to a dodgy overtake on Jordan, that just put him back. Oh, of course, Jordan isn't in today as well. In fact, it seems as though we have lost a driver between practice and qualifying. Not sure who. Safarowski into the pits. Hewlett still out. Rebecci on a lap. Any other pros? No, they've all but yeah, most of them haven't validated their lap times. But yeah, let's go on board for a track little tour with Craig Hewlett now, who's going to make his way around the track, trying to improve his position. So, down the main straight, Irsta. It's a late apex, almost a double apex thingy, but you just go for the late apex. Carry some good speed through into turn 2 now. An interesting right-hander, again, kind of late apex, early apex, same thing. Just hang a right around turn 3, Kanalbocht, and then into turn 4. Really high speed, you just a little tap on the brakes, a little bit of trail braking, and then you just keep carrying that momentum through the corner. So cars with really high downforce will perform really quite well through that corner. You've got a little small straight before you hit the braking zone for the Klein chicane, which we have of course seen produce some huge problems for the cars. You can see just how much Hewlett's bouncing, and that was enough to invalidate his lap time. Over the hill now through turn 6, Butte, then into turn 7, which is this little chicane, they call it the Villeneuve chicane. And we pulled over. Why is it always when I go on board with drivers they tend to do this to me? Okay, but anyways, we're back where we were through turn 8 now. Tillermanbocht, that fast right-hander through the left into the braking zone for the corner where we will most likely see most of the overtakes happen. And qualifying's ended as well. It's already ended. It's so quick. Here we go. Rebecci now out the hairpin through turn 10. Little straight again before we hit the final little chicane of turn 11. Yep, this track is made up almost completely of chicanes. Prioritise your exit speed out onto the straight. Let's see, how does Rebecci improve? He is on a positive. Where does Rebecci come out? Across the line. Rebecci up to P4 for his class and P5 overall. So that is qualifying pretty much over. The last couple drivers will be putting in their lap times now. And the race is almost upon us. Please disregard that previous little graphic. That was a bit odd, I have to say. So final drivers now across the line. Who is yet to come past? Just had Marcy cross, and there we go. That is the end of qualifying. Safarowski P1, Levanios P2, Hewlett P3 for the Pro Class. So join us in just a couple moments for our first 30-minute sprint. It's going to be intense. Drivers are going to be pushing as hard as they can. They've only got 30 minutes to perform, and then it's a second 30-minute race, so no pit stops. It's going to be intense. I'll definitely go grab a drink, go grab a snack, and join us in just a couple of moments for the start of the first race. And here we go, the first of two 30-minute sprints about to begin. We've got a little track walk that we can do, a little grid walk with our drone. And yes, we do get to operate it, and I'm very excited, as usual. So, up at the front, we've got Safarowski in P1, Levanios P2 in that McLaren. P3 is going to be P1 for his class, actually, the Lamborghini of Limburg. Then Hewlett P3 for the Pro Class. Then we've got Rebecci, Mishka, Marcy, Peters, Jackson, and then Fox P2 for the Pro-Am class. Schubert Manship is our P3 Pro-Am driver. And the drone's getting a bit low. Here is Schubert. No, that can't be Schubert. That is Pfeiffer, sorry. A Pro-Am driver. Then we've got Story, Pennell, P1 for the Am class, alongside Conti, P2 for that class. Then Craddock is P3 just behind there, but before we do that, there's Warburton here. 20 seconds to get the rest of the grid done. There's Taylor, There is, oh, Janssen, yeah, getting me confused again. Novell, Elford, Huben, Van Lagen, Brum, Brucroft. And we've got the final couple drivers up at the back. We've got Malott in the back there. And the two new drivers, oh, Tyler and Perra, or Reaper. I can't remember which one. It was either way. It's kind of, if you see the name once, it's kind of, either way works, really. Here we go. Drivers will be starting their engines in just a moment. Don't hit the drone. That's all I'll say. Oh, no, Penel. Why did I say Penel? Novell has done it. Here's the final Porsche to finish our little grid walk. I think that's a sick little feature. But anyways, now let's go and talk a little bit about the drivers and maybe the strategy for today. Obviously, strategy was to perform well during qualifying, keep those drivers behind. Now, the most common way to keep your positions as a lower class driver compared to higher class is going to be keeping those higher class drivers behind you. Yes, they are in a different class, but if you're faster, you can put them behind you. You've got that extra security. You've got the extra buffer to the drivers behind, to that P2 behind. So that's what's happening between Limburgs and Fox, although I'm sure Limburgs will probably be moved up to the Pro class at some point just because of his performance during qualifying today already. But of course, it does depend on his performance during the race. He did seem really quite good at Alton Park, mixing it up with the pros. He's doing that again today, so let's see how it goes. Fox, of course, also doing the same thing. So you will have these road guys just doing a little bit of work here and there, and then you do get the pros that are just struggling, and I suspect that is most likely the case for some of them. Story still not quite past his AM phase yet, P14. Let's get a Story there with Penel, the AM class driver, in the background just behind him. So yeah, this is going to be intense. It's going to be a quick race start. Turn 1 is going to be interesting. It's going to be messy. We saw a little bit of contact last time. So let's see how it goes today. And the drivers line up on their respective lines. Double file, as you might call it, or two single file lines. Still not quite sure how to say it. But anyway, the grid forms up for the first race of round 4 here at Zolder. And it's go time. 29 cars roaring down to turn 1 to start 30 minutes of racing. The Mustangs kept his position fairly well through turn 1. There's a little bit of tussle at the back. Is it all still okay? Yes, there's the Vanyos trying to defend from the Lamborghini going around the outside. And I think that's Mishka going off. Marcy getting bumped by Peters in the background. Hewlett's lost a little bit of position. Jackson just behind. There's Fox making a position on Schubert as well. Manship looking for a position at some point as well. We've got some racing, and looks like everyone got through turn 1 unscathed. This is brilliant. Manship now around the outside of Story. Schubert defending from Fox just ahead. Fox having to go over that bump. Is he okay? Yes, he is, but he's lost time. Story now with a little bit of a run, ready to take that position down the inside into turn 6. He's got that inside line, but now he's going to be on the outside for the chicane. He's ahead though, just a couple mil. And just in the background you see Craddock losing a position to a Ferrari. That was actually Penel. Oh my goodness, and there's contact down at turn 7. Conti and Penel all involved there. Oh, and we'll have a look at that a little later. Looked like Penel spun out, and somehow his rear ended up hitting Conti as well as he went round. That was a very odd collision. That was very interesting to watch. But oh my goodness, Safarowski's dropped 2 positions. Lavonios up to P1. Look at this. So Zolder delivering. There's Mishka in the background about to make a position on Marcy as well. He's just ahead by the time they get to turn 1. Alongside plenty of space between them. That's Mishka up into P6. He's trying to defend from Kurt Peters, going around the outside now. Peters, oh my goodness, there's contact between the 3 of them. Oh, watch out for Jackson down the inside. And there's Schubert also looking for a position to keep this racing clean, boys. Oh my goodness, Schubert being assaulted by Fox in the background as well. So Peters makes up a couple positions in all of that. He was just looking for a single position, ended up making a couple. Story now defending from Fox. Fox trying to go around the outside of the clay chicane again, turn 5. He just doesn't learn, doesn't he? And he's lost a bit of ground there. So it's maybe calmed down a little bit in the midfield. Warburton and Pfeiffer just swapped the position in the Pro-Am class. And now the gaps will start opening up. Tyler and Conti just swapped the position. Huben now also about to make a position on the Porsche at some point as well. 0.1 seconds, 0.2 seconds. And no, there's still nothing there. Pfeiffer alongside Manchip. Manchip now down the inside of turn 9. Pfeiffer's going to have the run on him. Out onto turn 10. He's got a little bit of curb. And Warburton's just waiting. He's waiting for that little mistake maybe. Pfeiffer trying around the outside into turn 11. Can he squeeze by? Yes, he can. But now Manchip will have a brilliant exit out into the main straight. They're still side by side, getting down the main straight. This is brilliant racing. These two battling over P2, P3 in the Pro-Am class. A little bit of a nudge there, a little bit of collision. Oh my goodness, and there it is. There's the collision between the two. Warburton into the gravel as well. Now Craddock comes past. Van Lagen, no, that is Janssen coming past. Again, sorry, just I get those names confused so easily because they are literally in the same car. So Manchip and Pfeiffer unfortunately coming together, and Pfeiffer's come off better from that. Pfeiffer pretty much still where he was. Manchip slipped down the order. Obviously it just takes a while for the grid, for the leaderboard to kind of get back to its original standings. Novell now down the inside of Rucroft. They've just swapped positions. So the Pro-Am either staying ahead or getting past the Am driver. Malott just swapped positions with Reaper. Reaper making some good progress. Conti, 0.2 seconds, 0.3 seconds over Malott. These 3 Am drivers battling it out for P24. And Conti's right up behind that NSX. He's looking for a position at some point. Maybe into turn 9. Let's have a look. Will the Nissan pull out a move? Oh, he had a little look. He had a look. Oh, and on the brake. That was really close. And so, oh, there is a little tap to the side of the car, but that is Conti giving their position back to Malott for that little collision. Wow, he's really up close behind him. And there's Huben, the other second GTR, joining that little train that's had a little bit of action at the start of the race. But mid-pack, we've seen some great racing. Lavagnos still in the race lead. Hewlett potentially making a position on Rebecci at some point. 0.1 seconds between them. He's going to have that slipstream down into turn 5. What will Hewlett do? Is he going to dare make a move into the braking zone? There's Rebecci's POV, and here's Hewlett's. You can see they're also coming up on Limburg's at some point. Zafarowski only 0.1 seconds off of Lavagnos, and they've just swapped positions through the chicane. Oh my goodness, and that was Zafarowski making the position. He then goes wide, and Lavagnos slips back through. So great racing between these two. Let's have a little look at what happened just a second ago between them. Oh my goodness, no, that was the wrong button. Apologies. My bad. But this was through turns 2 and 3. Right, that was 30 seconds ago at this point, I think. No, again, sorry. Unfortunate. But it's fine though. We'll get to. It was, I assume, Zafarowski got past into turn 6, and then turn 7 he just went wide, and that just allowed Lavagnos to slip past up into P1. Still the race leader, so I can envision some pretty good racing between them, as well as between Rebecci and Hewlett. So those gaps have opened up slightly. Half a second almost between them. Manchip now just behind Janssen for P4 in the Pro-Am class. Limburg's is so high up, I almost said P3. Half a second between them now. Alfred just behind, also looking to get involved. That Porsche also waiting for some action. We saw some good fights between Alfred and McElwain last season. 0.3 seconds, 0.4 seconds. Malott just got past Huben. Huben dropping slightly. Huben now in the middle of a little trio of action. There's Malott going slow. Both GTRs are stepped past, and there's a Porsche getting past as well. Malott losing ground. Tyler 0.3 seconds. Yeah, I think it might have just been a dodgy exit. But so far, we haven't seen any retirements in the actual race itself. But Lavagnos and Safarowski now side by side. Oi! And that is Safarowski barely ahead by the time they hit the braking zone. Let's see if we can get a look at what happened here. It's always just too late, isn't it? On the exit, just stays ahead. Really close between these guys. And we're just in time to see Lavagnos send it down the inside of turn 2. Safarowski's holding on round the outside of turn 3. Yes, they're still side by side. They bang wheels into turn 4. They go. Safarowski backs out just a little bit. And now, of course, he'll have a flawed exit. Oh, it's close racing between these drivers up at the top. Let's get the helicam going again. We've got Limburgs in the Ferrari. Oh, my goodness. And there's... Oh! Hewlett into the back of Limburgs. And I think he wasn't quite expecting Rebecci to brake as early as he did. And in all of that, Safarowski got ahead in all that chaos. Let's have a look at what happened there again from the helicam. 30 seconds. Let's try this. So here we go. There's Rebecci and Hewlett side by side. A little tap, and that unsettled his braking straight into the back of Limburgs. And then the acceleration, that little boost for Safarowski just meant he goes the long way round through turn 6, and he's ahead of Lavagnos by the time they hit the chicane. So a collision between Rebecci and Hewlett, a little bit of rubbing there, and that just unsettled the braking zone for Hewlett, and he just couldn't get the car stopped in time and sent it into the back of Limburgs. Now Limburgs is still in P1 for his class though, so not too bad. And this has already been 10 minutes of action. And Hewlett now behind Marcy. He's obviously a bit frustrated with what happened just a couple moments ago, because they were pushing each other to the limit. They were pushing hard. They were racing hard. So in the end, I guess it's not too much of a surprise that something happened. Novell really close up behind Van Lagen as well. That's down in P21. Close racing there. Manship 0.4 seconds on another driver. Now it's a couple half-second gaps between these three drivers: Story, Limburgs, Marcy, and Hewlett. And that's actually 4 drivers. Novell 0.4. Conti and Tyler just swapped positions down in P26. Oh my goodness, and that's Marcy wide through the chicane. Hewlett's opportunity, potentially. Oh my goodness, and he spun out into the wall. Is Hewlett on turn 8. Keep going, just keep pulling. Just get that car to the pits, get it repaired, do what you can. You've still got 20 minutes of racing. And there's the rest of the grid filing past. Oh man, just a little bit of a slip there, and that was enough. Now Alfred alongside Manship. Now these two are stuck behind Hewlett. It's obviously now ideal for Alfred, because now he can start fighting. Again, a little bit of rubbing. They are pushing each other as hard as they can. Alfred still stuck behind Manship. Warburton also looking for an opportunity. Manship's exit is slightly flawed. Now out into the main straight. Alfred pulling out. Here we go. Down into turn 1. He's alongside. Doesn't quite have his nose ahead by the time they hit the apex though. And it's again Manship going round to turn 2. Just keeping it out of Warburton. Oh man. Manship, for the second time this evening, sent sideways via a collision in turn 2. Warburton now down the inside into turn 3. He's got the inside line for turn 4 and he's ahead. Alfred dropping down to allow Warburton that position. That was a fight for P16. Frustrating, I'm sure, but Alfred still not happy with it down the inside into turn 5. Oh my goodness, that's Warburton into the wall! Alfred not feeling very gracious today. Not very merciful, but he's got that position now. Alfred up to P15, and that has ruined Warburton's race. Oh my goodness. So one thing just followed from another. Hewlett into the wall. Then it was Manship, a little slow. Manship and Alfred collide. Then it was Alfred and Warburton collide. So it would seem like a snowball reaction. It was just like a chain reaction of stuff happening all the time. And Warburton seems to be getting slow again. He's dropped to Roocroft. Van Lagen only half a second off that damaged Mercedes. But it looks like the Porsche has also got a bit of damage on the front itself. So these two both having some sort of scars from battles. Some sort of scar from a battle at some point. 0.3 seconds between Malott and Conti. Conti 0.2 seconds on Reaper. He's got some running him down into the final corner, braking a little earlier. Wise choice, wise decision, I would say, from the driver in the GTR. Woo! 13 minutes of action, and I was about to say, you know, it's calmed down, you know, we're all good, but it just keeps getting better. Here's Conti now. Right, whoa! Swerving to avoid a collision onto the grass. Unfair advantage overtake, but that of course means Tyler and... Oh man, Tyler and Malott get round. Conti still hanging on to that position around the outside of turn 2, but now his work is essentially reset into the braking zone. That Porsche was going for a really wide line into turn 1. That was quite interesting, and of course Conti then just freaked out and had to pull to one side in order to avoid a collision. There seemed to be a bit of good racing going on a little further up. Tyler, half a second. No, it's still just a couple milliseconds gap between these guys further down the grid. Rebecci, though, looking to make a move on Lavagnos around the outside of turn 1. Rebecci, we've seen some good pace from him this season. Round the inside, there we go. Lavagnos a little slippy, a little bit of oversteer. That was enough for Rebecci. Down the inside of turn 2. Rebecci now up into P2. Woo! Action, 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 don't you say? I think Rebecci's going to pull out a gap on Lavagnos just behind him. Conti will be trying to make some good progress at the field at some point as well. It's starting to calm down. Marcy potentially with an overtake on Story down in P9 at some stage as well. 0.3 seconds between these two. The Aston Martin looking a bit racy. Right up behind the McLaren. Yes, he is looking racy indeed. Putting the pressure on Story. Now, we did see a little collision from Marcy earlier. We saw some good racing action right at the start of the race. Here we go. Story feeling the need to go defensive, and a Pirelli Pirelli brake marker lying flat on the ground. Probably a better brake marker than it was before. Looking at the gaps, it's all still fine. Marcy, yeah, under braking seems to catch up to that McLaren really quickly. Only 0.2 seconds between them. What is also happening a little further down the grid is Brum is coming up on Novell, and Huben is also getting involved down in P21. 0.7 seconds, 0.2 seconds between Huben and Brum. And that is for P3 in the AM Class Championship. Look at how defensive Brum went, and Huben was like, okay, I'll do the same line. I can do this. I can do that. Oh, and Marcy also really close up behind Story at some stage. 0.1 seconds between them. Further up the grid, but we follow these two. We'll have to come back to Story's overtake or defense at some point as well. Looks like he has managed to veer off, but here's Brum again going very defensive on Huben, and Huben just can't go anywhere. He's got the wall, he's got Brum to the one side, but it doesn't look like he needs it. Round the outside of turn 1 onto the curb, and Brum is really defending his position hard here, and that's the beauty of these sprint races. It doesn't really matter whether you're defensive at the end or whether you're defensive at the start. You're fighting for these positions. That's how you want it to stay. So yeah, some good racing between these two, some hard racing between them. But Huben's not done yet. He's got the exit out to turn 5. A little fake, a little dummy to the outside. Brum trying to push him down into turn 5. And Huben says, nope, I can do this all day ahead through the chicane. And Brum just leaves him that space, enough space to get past. But Conti's also looking for that position, the second GTR. Brum, is he going to succumb to 2 GTR overtakes in the course of a single lap? Potentially a move into turn 9 is what I'm thinking. I'm not sure. By the way, Story and Marcy have been swapping positions rapidly. There's a massive battle going on between them. I thought we'd look down here for the podium positions. And Brum going very defensive. Wow, it's great to see this driver really pushing his opponents to do the uncomfortable. I was about to say do the impossible. It is still possible, it's just really uncomfortable. So Brum putting out a massive defense against anyone trying to come past. Doesn't really have a pretense of let's work together, let's catch the driver ahead, because it is a massive gap to Rucroft. And then obviously up to Craddock. Craddock is absolutely flying today. P12 for our AM class leader. Here's Conti now into turn 1. Is he going to back out? Again, similar issue, and I think they collide. Brum spinning. Oh, keep it together, these two. And again, Conti falling behind because he knows he's done something to that car ahead. And there's Pennell making a move on the driver behind Pennell on Malott just a couple seconds ago. Brum now going on the defensive. He's round the outside into turn 3. Conti going for that inside line, and I think there was a little nudge there. You can see just a little bit of a wave from that GTR. And Novell looks like he's had some damage. Oh my goodness, here's Pennell getting involved. Conti looking down the inside, Pennell going around the outside. No. Neat little 5-way battle now for P22. P4 in the AM Class Championship. P4 for this race. 10 minutes of racing left. And Brum, yeah, justified in his defensive driving. Pennell also getting involved. 3-way battle now for P4. Brum holding up the GTR and the BMW. Down the inside of turn 9. There we go. Conti got his nose in. Oh my goodness, that's Conti wide into the gravel. And that's Conti out of this battle for P4. So again, Brum going really defensive, pushing those cars. And again, just that little rub unsettled the braking point, just unsettled that braking zone for Conti. And you can't do anything. Riley now around the outside, he's onto the grass. And Brum absolutely destroying these cars trying to come by. The stewards will probably have plenty of reports, but Pennell forces his way past. He says, I'm taking that inside line. You're not going to bully me like the rest of the drivers. Wow, Brum really putting up a really tight defense. And Malott also getting there. A little tap from behind. Malott saying, hey, I can do the same thing as well. There's the Porsche of Reaper going around the outside of Novell. Oh my goodness, and that's a collision between Malott and Reaper. And Reaper now into the gravel. Almost looked like Reaper was going to get involved in that battle up there. He had a little fight with Malott. And just a little bit of a collision put Reaper into the gravel on the outside of turn 3. Woo! This is intense. I'm just yelling at the top of my lungs all race long at this pace. So Brum's still ahead. Malott's got some pace. Is he going to do the same as Pennell and Huben have managed to do? Just put on enough pressure to just get past Brum's defense at some point? Maybe. Potentially. Oh, and that's Brum wide. Here's Malott. He's going to have an opportunity. What is Brum's defense? In the middle of the track, not quite. Oh, a lunge from the inside. Oh my goodness, and that's Malott going wide. Conti also involved there, just giving enough space. Wow, some great racing going on back here. Conti and Malott now. So they've swapped positions. Conti going down the inside of Malott after he went wide. Again, just that little bump in the braking zone is enough to send you going straight into the gravel trap. Oh, this is going to be an intense turn 1. Malott's close to the back of Conti. Conti really close to the back of Brum. Again, 4-way battle here at the back of the grid. There's Conti going for a move on Brum round the outside, making him think, putting pressure on that BMW to take a narrower line. Tyler also getting involved. 4-way battle once again for P23. And there's Conti going down the inside into turn 4. No, backs out. That will, of course, mean that Malott's got a little bit of speed. He's gone wide, though. Okay, Conti's got speed on Brum. Brum going defensive again, once again, round. Oh my goodness, this is dodgy. Brum putting up one of the stoutest and one of the hardest working defenses I've ever seen so far. Conti again just giving him a little nudge from behind. Oh, that's unsettled its breaking point. Is this going to be Conti going past? No. Oh my goodness, and that's Brum wide. Woo! The action is heating up down at the bottom of the grid. Broom still ahead, Conti still below. Malott a better exit. These two know how hard Broom is fighting, so I don't think they'll be fighting each other too hard. I think the strategy here is for Conti and Malott just to work hard. They've both tried going up against Broom. They've both failed. Now they both know how defensive Broom can get. Conti, though, down into turn 11. There was nothing there. Wow. So after all that, Broom just lets Conti by up a position. And that's now Conti up into P22. Broom feeling the need to go defensive against Malott, though. And Malott's in. I don't care. I'm just going to go around the outside. It is a slower line, and unfortunately he does lose time. But I think we'll see Malott come past Broom at some stage as well. That was an intense battle. That was absolutely nuts. I can't believe what happened in that entire... That was almost 10 minutes of action. We've only got 7.5 minutes left in the race. It's just flying by. Time is absolutely flying. So let's have a little review of our podium positions for the race so far. Safarowski in the Pro Class and leading the race in the Pro Class. He's P1, Rebecik P2, Lavonios P3. Then down in the Pro-Am class we've got Limburgs in the race lead, Fox P2, Manchip P3. Then for the Am class, finally we've got Craddock, Rucroft and Huben. Woo! That was intense, but doesn't seem like it'll stay that way. Broom once again going on the defensive with Malott just behind. And a late lunge from Malott. No, he's just put Broom under pressure though. We'll have a better exit, a little more exit speed maybe into turn 11. No, not quite as much as Conti had. It was great to see the defensive driver from Broom though. He's been he's just been absolutely winging it with that defense. He's been pushing, he's been absolutely bullying drivers. But now we see a battle now for P3 in the Am class, and that's Huben going on the defensive into turn 2. Pennell going around the long way, and through goes Pennell up into P3. A little bit of an unsettled exit out to turn 1 for the Nissan GTR, cost him P3 in the race. So that's Pennell now up a position in P19. Malott now trying to do a similar thing on Broom right up behind him. We're going to see some more battles. Oh my goodness, Malott with a better exit potentially. Maybe there was a bit of a collision there. Broom just ahead, and now the faster drivers are going to filter through the traffic. So now it's a question of how Malott will allow those faster drivers through, and then how Broom will react. Because of course all this puts pressure on the Am drivers, and the Pro drivers just want to get past because they're under pressure from the driver behind. Oh my goodness, the pace at which I've been talking and the pace at which the action's been happening. Oh my goodness, that's Malott and Safarowski colliding at turn 7. Malott's chance of making a position on Broom is gone. And Malott straight into the pits. He's just that upset. So, man. That was an unsatisfactory end to that bit of action. And Novell struggling with the damage on his Porsche. He's still out there, he's still racing though. So good on you. Keep pushing to the end, mate. Just keep going. But yeah, back up to P9. Marcy still trying to make a position on Story. Let's see whether there's been a collision between these two. See if we can have a little bit of an action review at some stage. I'm sure they must have tapped some stage. Yes, they have. 21 minutes into the race. Let's just see how the exit goes. Marcy behind in the Aston Martin. Story. Oh, Story with a little bit of oversteer on the exit. How does this affect his exit down into turn 1? Not much. Not much. Let's have a quick look at the replay from a couple laps ago. But before we do that, Marcy wants to show us a bit of action around the outside into turn 2. Shown the outside by Story. So Story went wide turn 1. Marcy tried going for the inside, a little cut back. Story said, I'm going to defend this position. And they're still that way. So also good defense from that red McLaren ahead. 4 minutes of the race left. And Marcy, where will he go? Down into turn 5. Trying to send a dummy down the inside. No, he's not close enough for a move. And out onto the exit. It's pretty much still neck and neck for these two. Through the tight section. Let's have a quick look at this replay. So this was into turn 7. Marcy trying to go down the inside, and a little tap there. Wow. So that was when they were constantly changing positions earlier, so we still get to see a little bit of that action. Car 12 is stationary. Who's 12? That is Elford, facing the wrong direction on the exit of turn 4. Doesn't seem like there's major damage though. Hopefully it was just a little spin out. Hopefully it wasn't anything too major. But yeah, a little position swap there for Alfred. Alfred going straight through the gravel, just trying to cut that chicane, trying to cut his losses, trying to just keep up with the rest of the pack. But yeah, Story and Marcy, that little battle, that was brilliant. It's great to see that hard racing where, you know, there's collisions that inevitably you are going to collide. Yes, you get the deficit in points. Yes, you're going to lose points for doing that, but that's racing. You're going to have some sort of contact. It's just about how hard it is. Schubert looking for a position on Jackson in the last 2.5 minutes of the race for P5. Lemberg's looking racy behind that Ferrari. Down into turn 7. Anything? No. A little bit of a slide from that blue and red Ferrari. And he's lost that gap to Jackson now. 0.3 seconds. Marcy once again gaining on Story. 0.3 seconds, 0.2 seconds. Again, a close battle. And there's Brum facing the wrong direction. Down at turn 8. And, oh, that was Story going wide at turn 9. So Marcy now gets passed into P8. P7 for his class. So, yeah. It's really, I don't know, it's kind of a, I don't know how to say it. It's, you don't want to see a driver just go off and a position change being made because they made a mistake. But most of the time that's how things happen anyways. But at the same time, it also just means there's more time for me to just rest my voice. But anyways, Schubert now back up behind Jackson. And we've actually seen some really great racing between these two. Imola, they were fighting. Jackson was putting up really good defense. Not Brum level defense, as in rubbing and that kind of thing, you know, pushing the cars off track. He was right in the middle. It was a perfect defense. You know, it wasn't aggressive. It wasn't too aggressive. It wasn't aggressive enough to be picked up and, you know, kind of semi-judged. But at the same time, it did its job. You know, that turn 1, turn 2 section, that's really where a lot of the defense happens, and that's where a lot of the overtakes happen as well. Tyler, some lapped traffic. And Jackson, of course, a little slow round turn 8, and that is Schubert going round the outside into turn 9. The traffic getting in the way, really close, bunched up, and the position stayed just as they were. And the leader is on the final lap. It's the final lap of the race already, ladies and gents. Here's Lemberg's now into turn 11. Is he going to make the move? Has a look. Not quite there yet. Schubert now right up behind Jackson. And wow, this has been an absolutely crazy race so far. Really intense. And Lembergs is still putting Schubert under pressure. So close racing between these guys up in P6 and P5. Zafarowski and Lembergs just made the move out to turn 4. Schubert going slightly slow. Let's have a look at the replay. And we've caught it in time. So slow exit out of turn 2. And there we go, Lemberg's making the most of that opportunity. And he says, finally, I can get past this slow pro ahead of me. So yeah, finally up past. Then it's Peters, just a couple tenths off of Levagnos just ahead. But here we go. It is Florian Zafarowski who will come across the line first. That Ford Mustang coming across the line for the first time this season. The first time this evening. First all around. Zafarowski crosses the line to take the race win for Season 4, Round 4 at Zolder. Zafarowski, our Pro Class winner. Then it's going to be Rebecci in P2 and Levagnos P3 for the Pro Class as well. Lemberg's not far. He'll be taking Another win, second win of the season for this man. How is he still in the Pro-Am class? I don't know. The admins will decide. But here we go. Lemberg taking the race win for the Pro-Am class. Here, race 1, round 4 of the Season 4 Championship. And then it's going to be a little while for Fox to cross the line. Fox comes across, takes the checkered flag, P2 for that BMW driver. Manchip, P3. And then it is Craddock in the McLaren. First time out this season. First race and first podium. First race win. It is an evening of firsts. Except for Lindbergh's. It's a second for him. But anyways, Craddock taking the race win. Roycroft with yet another podium. He's had really good consistent performance this season. And then Pennell coming across the line in P3 for the AM class drivers. Roycroft with his 4th podium of the season. And wow, what a race it has been. Non-stop action. We literally only looked at one replay, and that was action between drivers all around. So yeah, that it was intense. It was just absolutely nuts. The good news is we still have another 30-minute race to go. So that was only race 1. We've got another 30 minutes to go. Get loads of water. I know I'm really thirsty at the moment. And join us in just a couple seconds for race 2. My bad. Just in case you're wondering, essentially all the overlays and stuff are bound to my keyboard. So as I'm trying to type, it means, yeah, you suddenly get all these weird overlays coming on. So it's not the end of the stream. I did read the race the comment from the live chat. I've just had a look at that. Race 2 is starting in just a couple seconds. I think it takes about 2 minutes between each race. So just enough time to grab a refill of coffee, a refill of Coke, and a refill of popcorn. Or crisps. Or chips, as you might call it in America. However, wherever you are from. So yeah, it's literally just around the corner. And just as I say that, it is time to go again. Here we go, race 2 of the round 4 here at Zolder. And if race 1 was anything to go by, race 2 is going to be absolutely insane. I don't know where to start. We had Brum putting up an absolutely massive defense. We had Marcy trying to get past Story. And of course we had a little fight for the race lead between Lavagnos and Safarowski, who you can see at the front of the grid. And of course we had some hard breaks. Hewlett, Warburton, I thought initially Pinnell, but of course at the end he got involved. He got past Brum, one of the only drivers to do so. And then, yeah, it was really just chaos. I'm going to need a couple days to process all of that. Usually it does take me almost a week to go through all the highlights, go through the replay just to process what I saw. So yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. And Fuse, I also saw your comment as well. This is sim racing. It's essentially real life car racing, but virtual. So a lot of these drivers, they're drivers from all over the world. They all compete on the same track, same lobby, online. And they could be racing with anything. They could be racing with a controller. But it does go down to platform. So this is PC exclusive. But, you know, you can obviously connect a race wheel. You can connect some controllers. And if you convert to this, I don't want to call it a cult, but essentially it is. It's just absolutely awesome, man. It's an absolutely awesome community. If you want to join this community as well, forgot to mention, there will be some sort of link somewhere on the stream and on the YouTube channel to join the Discord server. That's where all the talk happens, and you can find out more about what we do. So we host a GT3 championship. Our GT4 championship just ended as well. Ended just this week, and yeah, it was interesting to say the least. But yeah, we do all sorts of stuff. We do endurance racing. We just got 2 teams together, an actual esports racing team and then an academy team. We'll be learning from those esports drivers. And yeah, we just do all sorts of stuff. It's also just a place you can chill. Just chill, get free setups, learn from other drivers as well, and get all that stuff, get all that stuff under the belt. And then of course, you get a couple of the other perks like a Bruty. We get a nice little, I don't know what you call it. It's I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. We get a nice it's on there. It's literally commission. There we go. We get a small commission from people who buy stuff from Bruty, who's one of our partners. We're also partners now with the Setup Garage, who are bringing us setups for a reduced price because we're partners with them. So yeah, we're definitely growing, and definitely have the founder and the owner Hewlett to thank for that, and Safarowski. Oh, look at that! Oh, hello there, sir. That was stunning. It's almost as if we knew the cameras were there. It's kind of like a, hey guys, race winner here, let's go. So yeah, Safarowski. Obviously, again, this is the starting in their qualifying positions. Race 2, half an hour of action left, half an hour of non-stop action left. Again, no mandatory pit stop whatsoever. So let's just go through a little review of the classes again. Safarowski P1, Rebecci. No, sorry, that's Lavagnos again. Sorry, it's the McLarens in the different colours. Lavagnos and the grey McLaren P2, and then Hewlett P3 for the class. Hopefully a better race start for Hewlett and a better mid-race kind of action for him as well. Then Limburg starting P1 for the Pro-Ams, Fox in the BMW starting P2 for the Pro-Ams, and then Manship P3 in the orange and blue McLaren. Again, I don't know why, but the camera always seems to take a while. Then it's Pinnell, Conti and Craddock as our AM drivers starting. But here we go, drivers lining up yet again for the second time today, round 4 of the Season 4 Championship. Let's do this again. Let's do round 4, race 2. It's go time times 2. 29 cars once again roaring down to turn 1. Lavagnos has had a semi-decent start. And looking further down the grid, It is all chaos as usual. Limburg's potentially a move around the outside of turn 2. And there's Marcy trying to make a move on Mishka. Hewlett dropping down the order. Mishka now around the outside. Turn 3. Loses it though. Marcy and Peters will have a little run down into turn 4. Oh my goodness, and they bang wheels. The two BMWs coming together, and that's Mishka going off into the gravel. Just keeps it out. Rebecci, and there's Hewlett also getting up right up behind the drivers ahead. Limburg's, oh my goodness, and he bails, taking the curb instead, and Lavonius has lost loads of ground coming out to turn 5. Peters now around the outside of turn 5. Hewlett will have to give back those positions. Yes, he does. Doesn't have to give that back to Rebecci though. Rebecci trying to get back. Rebecci now around the outside. Oh my goodness, millimeters between these drivers as they come through turn 7. Really close racing here up at the top of the grid, but looks like we do have a couple fatalities down at the bottom of the grid. Marcy about to make a move on Peters. Peters can't defend that. Peters now down the inside into Rebecci. Oh my goodness, and these two collide again. Peters taken out the Pirelli board. Woo, this is close. There's Fox trying to make a move on Story a little further down. Oh my goodness, there's Story. Hello. Okay, so huge things going on down at turn 11. And again, there is chaos down at the pit start straight. Oh my goodness, cars just get through safely. I hope it all goes well. Yes, seems like it has. Just up there you can see Novell going slightly wide. Oh my goodness, and that's Novell losing ground somewhere. Broom, oh my goodness. There is just stuff going on everywhere. Novell slow. There's another Porsche Reaper. What's going on? This is the action that we saw down in Season 2, Round 4. At Zolder yet again. Story. There's a lot going on here. Story losing ground. Conti into the back of Taylor. Just a little tap. Oh my goodness, I'm straight lining. Oh my goodness, and there's a car straight into the barriers. Conti now being overtaken by both Craddock and Fox at the same time. Fox unfortunately not able to keep it. Oh yay, a little tap there from the rear. And Conti still stays ahead of Fox. Craddock now hanging on round the outside of turn 8. Fox just backing out that little bit extra. And he's still down the inside into turn 9 though. Where will Fox go? He's still got the inside line. Into the braking zone you can see Brum defending from Van Lagen in the background as well. Manship trying to get round, and they're still side by side. Fox and Craddock still not quite decided on who's taking the next position. Craddock down the inside into turn 11. Does he keep the position this time? Brum getting alongside the other BMW. And there we go. Somewhat safely through those couple corners. Now it's Fox on the threat from Brum as well. There's Van Lagen having a little look. Mishka having a little look as well. Mishka down the inside. A massive move on a driver ahead. Manship losing out to a massive dive. A massive dive bomb from Mishka. Beautiful bit of overtaking there. And it's still Brum fighting with Van Lagen now. Mishka also looking for a position at some point. The pro driver looking to regain those positions he lost right at the start of the race. Banging wheels with Kurt Peters, who got tapped in the rear from another driver. Can't quite remember who, but 5 drivers now fighting down here for P14 overall. Brum holding up this entire train. And looks like Mishka is under threat from Van Lagen. 2 BMWs and a Porsche. Then there's a McLaren and another Porsche behind. Close between these guys. Brum under threat from Mishka, and Van Lagen under threat from Manship. Brum again trying to go very defensive. Mishka says no, I want that inside line. Manship, massive dive down the inside. Van Lagen, and that's Brum gone wide, and he loses 5 positions as Mishka comes by to take P14. Meanwhile, Alfred having a look. 2 Porsches battling. Alfred having a look down the inside of Van Lagen. Obviously, Brum's right behind, but I don't think he'll be too much of an issue, too much of a problem. It looks like Lavonios has dropped a good couple positions as well. Lavonios now down to P5. He started right alongside Safarowski. I'm not sure how to say it now. I'm too paranoid. 0.2 seconds between Lavonios and Rebecci now. 2 McLarens fighting for the final podium position. Hewlett's having a good start, and he's managed to stay where he is, which is good, which is what you want to see. Finally, Lavagnos now with a little bit of speed into turn 7 through turn 6. He seemed very racy, but there was just nowhere to go. Lavagnos looking for a position at some point, but he has dropped back a little bit. Alfred and Van Lagen just swapped positions. Let's see if we can have a look at that overtake just a couple seconds ago. Here we go, so around the outside. Oh, just an easy exit for Alfred and his head by the time they hit turn 5. So easy work. Easy work for that green Porsche. And that's not what you want to see! Oh, yay! Head-on collision between Pfeiffer and Alfred. So just as we were watching the replay, we suddenly come back and he's facing the wrong direction. Looks like we're going to have to delve back into the replay again. Let's go. So, oh man, it just did the same thing again. Oh my goodness. Right, so we'll have to have a look. Maybe there was some contact between Alfred and Van Lagen, because he was ahead of Van Lagen, and then this happened. So I'm assuming there's something had something to do with that. Meanwhile, Reaper under threat from Malott now. Malott also having a Vel right up behind him. Two Porsches sandwiching that Honda. And Malott's right up behind him, ready for a mistake, pushing for a mistake. Novell making the mistake behind instead. He's pressuring the wrong person, and a little bump draft. Oh, and that's Malott and Reaper both spinning out. Malott into the barriers. So contact there between those drivers. Oh my goodness. So a lot happening those last couple seconds. Further up the grid, Lavagnos still half a second off Rebecci. Rebecci half a second off Hewlett. Now, what we saw earlier between Mishka hitting, I think it was Mishka hitting Rebecci, it seemed so familiar, because last time we were here at Zolder, Rebecci made himself known, made his presence known by sending it into the side of Hewlett down at turn 9, the exact same corner. So I was getting flashbacks. That was quite funny to watch, really. It's quite interesting to see that play out again. It was almost like instant karma. Say, hey, you did that a while back, remember? Well, I'll make him remember. Craddock losing the ground to Fox just behind. Oh my goodness, that looked intense. Craddock still ahead though. Foxy going for a really tight line. Craddock has to change it. Mishka looking for a position as well. Mishka getting involved now. Craddock and Fox still fighting down into turn 4. Mishka had his nose in just enough to be able to take that position, and Craddock is forced wide onto the gravel. Craddock still waiting, potentially making a move on the BMW ahead, but there's just no contention there. And this is interclass racing. This is interclass racing, as in like properly interclass racing. Mishka now looking for a position on Fox. Obviously two drivers in two different classes, but the same car. Ooh, and Fox cutting a lot of curb there. I'm sure he just got a warning for that. I think Pennell just made a position on Taylor. Lavagnos now right up behind Rebecci, up at the top of the grid. Oh my goodness, this seems close. And Hewlett going slow. Rebecci now down the inside on the exit. And he's just got before him before they hit the braking zone. What happened to Hewlett a couple seconds back? I'm not sure, but we now have a three-way fight for P2 on the boards. And Hewlett defending now from Lavagnos. He's trying his best through turn 3. He's still got that position. Still going defensive. And that's Hewlett still in P3, but on the exit, Lavagnos is going to have better exit speed. And he is side by side now, round the outside into turn 5. Hewlett trying to put up a defense. How does this go? Nice straight break in. Good awareness from both of them. Good situational awareness. Good space as well. They gave each other just enough space to get by. So good racing between these two. What happened to Hewlett? I think he probably had some sort of run wide, and that just unfortunately, cost him a position or two. Almost two positions, just one at the moment though. Now we do have Conti getting right up behind Taylor. There's a little review then after that little bit of action has abated. We've got Safarovsky, Rabetti and Hewlett, our top 3 for the Pro class. Lembergs, Taylor, then Fox, our top 3 for the Pro-Am class. Then Pennell, Conti and Craddock, our top 3 for the Am class. Some familiar names and some unfamiliar names as the cars bunch up once again mid-pack. We've got 2, 4, 6 drivers all within maybe 2 seconds of each other. Taylor to Manship. And Mishka, obviously a pro driver trying to make some ground through the pack, get back up to P8 where he can start fighting with Schubert over that position. And there's Mishka, a little bit of pace, a little bit of a look down into turn 1 just to maybe unsettle the Nissan, but the Nissan's seen it all before, or he just doesn't really care and will just keep doing his lines and let the BMW do his thing, make sure the BMW upholds his deal of the bargaining, getting past safely. And it looks like there it is, a little bit of a lift maybe from Conti, a little too much, but he does let Fox through as well. To be fair, Conti is an AM class driver, so at the moment he doesn't really have too much to worry about, except that now he's got Craddock right up behind him, and that's going to be a battle for P2. So I was about to say, oh, you know, he was fine. He's got a gap to Pennell that he still needs to make up, though. That's the only thing. And oh my goodness, where's Mishka gone? He's gone wide as well. Okay, let's have a look at this again. And it looks like there's a lot of damage. Let's have a look at the replay. So this is the bit of action. Mishka coming into turn 5. We've got Conti, obviously, that we were following a little earlier. Over Klein chicane. Oh my goodness, it just goes wide. Does he hit the barriers though? That's my question. Because it looked like he was sliding around everywhere. No, he hasn't. He's just had some wheel spin. So obviously those tyres are going to be overheating slightly, and that's obviously onto the grass as well. There's all that to take into account for that loss of friction, loss of traction. Pfeiffer looking for a position on Broom. We've seen Broom defend against his own brothers and sisters in the AM class. How does he defend against the driver in a higher class, I wonder? Well, he's just been forced wide into the chicane, and Pfeiffer's going to have a lovely run on him down into turn 1. Not quite as lovely as I thought, though, because Pfeiffer also had a rough exit out of there. Lavagnos now only 0.2 seconds off of Hewlett as well, up in P4. Overall, P3 for the class. Half a second now between these two. But there's not really much action going on. Fox only 0.4 seconds off of Taylor for P2 in the Pro-Am Class Championship. And that's Pfeiffer being forced to go wide onto the grass. Brum taking his signature line of, I'm going to defend, you send it, and I'll send it at the same time. Let's see what happens. Anyway, here's Taylor and Fox battling now hard for P2. Taylor in the McLaren, Fox in the BMW. Taylor going on defense, just keeps it straight. Oh, a little bit of a touch to the rear. Fox maybe lifting off slightly just to give Taylor a little bit of space. Down the inside into turn 11, looks like it. Fox just got his nose in just in time before Taylor goes on to the defense into the chicane, and Taylor knows that position is as good as gone. That is Fox now up into P2, but there is a lot of action going on right behind them. Conti and Taylor fighting now. There's Craddock as well getting involved. Manship. There's Conti making a lovely move down the inside into turn 1. Beautiful move from the GTR onto the McLaren. He's still not got that move done though yet. That was weird. Anyway, here comes the McLaren round the outside, and Craddock also trying to get around the outside. Of course, Craddock and Conti are fighting for this position. So Conti now slow out to turn 3, and Craddock just sails by. So that was an unfortunate sequence of events for the GTR driver, and Manship will obviously be trying to make some ground on these two AM drivers so he can start fighting for P3 in the Pro-Am Class Championship, because of course Fox and Taylor just had a little interaction. Fox absolutely flying through, and he's already built a little bit of a gap on him. It's good action in the mid-pack. Now further up, I'm still keeping my eye on Lavagnos and Hewlett. They are only half a second apart, so there could still be some good fighting there. Oh my goodness, and there's a late lunge from Manchip down the inside of Conti. Conti has to bail out last second. It was one of those. It's just one of those little. I don't know, what do you call it? It's one of those little lunges. I don't quite want to call it a lunge though, because it wasn't actually like a proper a lunge. But yeah, you just wanted to give him a little, let him think, or just send it down the inside and see what happens. Novell really close up behind Huben. Pro-Am on an Am, and you can see Novell, he was really unsure there. He kind of looked to the inside, came back, kind of kept his wheel out. He was kind of going back and forth. Should I go? Shouldn't I? Should I go? Shouldn't I? But yeah, and up ahead you can see Brum also holding up Pfeiffer for P17. Again, really close racing between these two. There's Novell going round the outside into turn 2, and that's the move done. Warburton behind, also potentially making a move at some point. But here we go. Brum and Pfeiffer collide, and oh my goodness, they haven't even hit the clean chicane yet, and they're bouncing all the way. That's how hard they collided. And Brum, oh my goodness, there was a lot that happened there. Out onto the track, and Huben takes some evasive action. Wow, that was intense. Now Pfeiffer under threat from Novell. Okay, so Pfeiffer and Brum had it coming together, and Pfeiffer, yeah, that looked scary. Brum was literally bouncing all around. So yeah, now we've got a three-way battle for, I believe, 2, 3, 4, 5, P6 in the Pro-Am class. Sorry, there are just some drivers up at the top of the leaderboard, so you can't see who are in the Pro-Am class as well. So you kind of need to take that into account. And there's a big gap between Hewlett and Lavagnos now. And Safarovsky suddenly losing ground. Where's Safarovsky gone? Safarovsky suddenly losing ground. Is there damage to the front of his car? Yes, there is. So I assume he's maybe had a collision with a back marker, because now it's going to be Ribetti, then Hewlett, then Safarovsky as our order. Safarovsky is car 54. Has he had a collision with someone? No, he hasn't. So I think, yeah, Safarovsky then just a spin out, and he's into the wall. Now only 0.2 seconds off Hewlett. Hewlett obviously going to be fighting hard to keep P2. Going really defensive, but keeps it nice and straight. He's not weaving all around the place like Brum, but Safarovsky doesn't mind. Almost around the outside into turn 11. Onto the grass though. Lavagnos with a better exit. Round the outside. Oh my goodness, and that's Lavagnos almost into the wall. Some great action up at the top. 12 minutes of racing remaining, and it seems to be heating up again. It was really close at the start, then kind of quietened down, and now it's heating up once again. And Craddock and Manchip just had a position swap. They're fighting hard still. Conti down the inside, maybe into turn 11, too far, and there's Manchip trying to go around the outside into turn 11. He's got the inside line on the exit. Conti being filtered down by the grid. Wow. So what happened to Safarovsky? I don't quite get it. He just suddenly started dropping down the grid. That was really abrupt. So, 11 minutes of the race remaining. We've had some good action. Craddock behind Taylor. It's a bit of mixed, I almost said mixed martial arts. It's a bit of mixed class racing. I mean, you could call it mixed martial arts the way we've seen some action tonight. Further down though, Brum holding up Rucroft and Reaper. We've seen Rucroft's performance in the past. We've seen Brum's defense just a couple minutes ago. So let's see how this fans out. Half a second between every one of these drivers. So Brum half a second ahead of Rucroft. Rucroft half a second ahead of Reaper. I'm just looking at the gap at the top. P4, Safarovsky only half a second off Hewlett, and Lavagnos also only half a second off Safarovsky. So we might have to cut back to that action at the top. But for now, we look at Reaper, who's having a look at Rucroft. And Lavagnos is losing ground. He's spun out somewhere. And Peter's taking evasive action. That's Peter's pass as well. Not quite though. Lavagnos is in the undamaged car. You can see the hood of Peter's car slightly lifted. There's Malott getting out of the way. Almost a similar incident to what we saw with some of the other drivers at Imola. Some of the back markers just getting in the way of the action. Unfortunately, there wasn't anything that happened that went like completely wrong. But Peter's now right up behind Marcy. Three-way battle here. Marcy going quite defensive. Peter's staying behind, and Lavagnos just waiting for his opportunity. 2.4 seconds between Peters and Lavagnos now. Is he going to go defensive? Yes, he is right in the middle of the track. Lavagnos, though, still keeping that door open. He's like, yeah, just keep a space. Oh, my goodness. And that's Peters and Lavagnos round. And, yeah, Lavagnos waiting for Peters to recover. Great to see that little bit of sportsmanship. But, again, at the same time, that shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have been there. Really a bit of unfortunate luck there between them. Some bad luck, unfortunately. A little further down the grid, we do also have a battle developing between Novell and Pfeiffer down in P17. Really close between them, 0.2 seconds, but we follow Lavagnos and Peters now. Also quite close. 0.3 seconds. Just keeping a really close look. And Lavagnos going around the outside into turn 2. Peters going defensive. How does this impact the next couple corners? Lavagnos with a better exit through turn 3. Peters will probably have to just give up that position through turn 4. Just go a slightly wider line. He's not quite given up on that position though. Peters still holding on to P7. Again, we see Lavagnos in the exact same position. That was funny. And Peters still ahead of Lavagnos. So Peters still has pace to him. He's still got pace. Still racing. He's still racing, even though he's got an extra hood. Oh, actually, that little gap on his hood is closed up a little more. So it's a bit harder to see. So that's a little funny thing. And oh my goodness, Ruycroft losing a position to Reaper down in P23. And Peter's going very defensive. Lavagnos trying around the outside of turn 9. You can see Lavagnos with that extra speed trying to go around the outside. And Peter says, no, I know what you're doing. Goes defensive. Down into turn 11 though. Peters just keeping that line right in the middle of the track. Good defense from the BMW driver. We haven't really seen too much great defensive driving. We've seen some very desperate defensive driving from Brum. A lot of that today. But we've also seen some good defensive driving. Here is Peters giving us a good example. Just sitting in the middle of the track. They have to choose which side to go on. And then all you're doing is you just keep your line. You're not changing your line. So that's technically not illegal. You know, it's not illegal. And Manchip now into the pits for a drive-through penalty. I'm assuming that's for track limits. He was doing so well, P4 for his class, and unfortunately now stuck with the drive-through. And he's going to be losing a couple of positions from that. Here's Lavagnos, maybe around the outside into turn 5. Peters thinks so. Very defensive into the braking zone. Is he passed yet? No, they're giving good space to each other. Brilliant racing here in P7. It doesn't even feel like I should be talking really loudly or really intense for this moment. It just feels like the race, it is hard racing, but at the same time there's a sort of, I don't know, it's like a dance. It's really, I don't know, it feels really nice. Just really chill. These guys pushing hard, but at the same time have good defense, good form, not pushing each other over the limits. Really great to see these two respect each other's space. It's really brilliant racing for Peters and Lavagnos down into turn 11 though. Let's see, is there going to be a desperate lunge? Hopefully not. 5 minutes left in the race. He still has time to make that position. At this point, I don't think Lavagnos should be looking at Schubert. He should just be looking at getting past Peters, because in the end, it is a championship. You need to make points. You need to make positions to make those points. So, yeah. And for the interclass racing guys, just keep it safe. Yeah, you can overtake to put a guy behind you, but at the same time, if you mess that up, you could be losing a lot more points than making or having security behind you. Sorry, Lavagnos now down the inside into turn 3. Is this going to work again? Let's see. He's almost fully ahead by the time they hit turn 4, and Peters decides, yep, it's time, and doesn't really fight that too hard. Does he have a run down into turn 5 though? Braking, he's got half a car's width just poking out just to make you and I nervous, and Lavagnos nervous, and it seems as though it works slightly, bouncing over Lane curve. Here we go. down into turn 6, or slightly wider line. I thought he was going to make a move down into turn 7, and I think that's what he wanted to do as well. And Hewlett now slow as well, down at turn 9. What is happening to these pros up at the top of the grid? Hewlett looks like he can barely drive. I cannot believe it. No, this is not how it's supposed to go. So Schubert now losing ground. Hewlett's going into the pits. This is not how it's supposed to run. The pros are supposed to be up at the top and keeping it consistent. No spin outs or crashes, yet we've seen 2 of them succumb to that, 3 of them succumb to that. Schubert now putting Marcy under pressure for suddenly the final podium position. Meanwhile, Limburg's up in the race lead. He's half a second on Rebecci, and he's just chilling there. He's just suddenly, oh, okay, I've got race lead now. So, oh man, things just seem to be going wrong all over the place, and right all over the place as well. Novell looking at a position change at some point as well. 0.2 seconds on Pfeiffer. This is for P5. Pfeiffer not quite falling for maybe a bit of a psychological mind trick trying to be played out by Novell. We've seen some of those work out really well, especially at Alton Park. I still remember the one move from Story when he was still in the AM class. But before we recount that story, Novell down the inside at turn 4. Is he still there? No. Pfeiffer drops. No, he's still ahead. So Pfeiffer staying ahead. Novell maybe dropping the throttle just a little bit, just to let him past. 0.4 seconds between them now. Again, bouncing over Klein chicane. 0.4 seconds between them. And Hewlett just continues to fall down the order as he's in the pits. Story and Jackson and Alfred are also there. Oh man, disappointing. Very, very disappointing for those drivers still in the pits. They're not coming out. That's just the sad reality of it. 2 minutes remaining in the race. Almost there. The last bit of action being played out. Pfeiffer just staying ahead. We've got this little trio of cars fighting down in P14 overall. That's going to be P4 for the class, P4 for the Pro-Am Championship, and it's half a second between them all almost now. Novell 0.4, Van Lagen only 0.4 ahead of Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer has a little bit of a run, and again they seem a little bit twitchy going down into turn 1. Again, just trying to make their opponents think, just make them think they're going to make a move. And Van Lagen feels the need to go defensive into turn 3. There's still a massive gap between them, but you know, you can never take too many chances, and looks like Novell's dropped back slightly on Pfeiffer. Oh my goodness, and that's Van Lagen out of control. Van Lagen spins it on turn 4 and loses 2 positions, potentially 3. Here comes Warburton. Yeah, Warburton passed by the time they hit turn 5. Ah man, unlucky for the man in the Porsche. Van Lagen was running such a consistent race before. We'd never even heard from him really during both races, and now he suddenly loses it just on the exit at turn 4. Ah man, unlucky. And we follow still Schubert within half a second of Marcy. Marcy will obviously be thinking about Schubert just behind. He'll know he'll have that car waiting to make a position. 0.3 seconds, 0.2 seconds. Here we go. Traffic maybe getting in the way into turn 5. Ooh, and yeah, Reaper. Good awareness there. Safe place to park, safe place to let them by. Craddock looking at a position on Taylor at some point as well, and there's 0.2 seconds between them. Is interclass racing though. I mean, there's nothing wrong with interclass racing though. We've seen plenty of it. Oh, and Schubert is really up close behind Marcy, as we saw just a couple seconds ago. Almost had flashbacks from Alton Park, turn 5, Rebecci on Jordan. And, wow, final lap already. Right, here we go. Final lap, and there has been a lot of commotion over the course of this race. Plenty of commotion. And yeah, it's just been absolutely nuts. I cannot believe the amount of action we've seen so far. Schubert looking down the inside into turn 1. Marcy not taking the bait, 0.1 seconds between them. Really close round the outside into turn 2. Marcy going defensive. Good racing between these two for P3 in the Pro Class Championship. Let's see how it goes into turn 4. Ferrari, little look down the inside, making Marcy think. Not quite there yet. And Brum's getting out of the way. Here's Marcy, here's Schubert. This is one of the final opportunities he'll have down into turn 5. Has a look, doesn't happen though. Nothing happens there. And a little bit of a run over the curb. But Limburg's going to be the first one to cross the line. The Pro-Am driver, and I don't think he's going to stay in the Pro-Am class for long. The pace he's been putting out over the last 2 races, the last 3 races, puts him probably in the Pro Class League. But regardless, it is time for the checkered flag to wave for the 4th time tonight as Limburgs comes across the line to take a hat-trick of victories this season. Limburgs takes the race win here at Zolder, race 2, round 4, and then it's going to be Rebecci in the Pro Class just behind, taking the race win for the Pro Class. Marcy still fighting with Schubert for P3. Savarovsky will come across the line in P2. Right onto the final line. Schubert right up behind Marcy, but it looks like Marcy with his defensive driving has just made it across the line ahead of Schubert. I'm sure he's going to be very, very relieved with that second podium of the season for the Aston Martin driver. Then it's going to be Pennell crossing the line for the AM class. Our AM class winner for the second race of round 4. P2 will be Craddock, P3 will be Conti, and then it's going to be Fox and Taylor bringing up the rest of the podium finishes for the Pro-Am class. And Riley celebrating that class victory. And Pennell has taken his second race win of the season. Sure, very happy with that result. Craddock also, he's also got his second podium. Wow, a lot has happened tonight. So that then is the end of round 4 of the season 4 GT3 Championship, and we've barely looked at any replays. That's how packed tonight has been. You know, it's been a good session when you barely look at the replays, when you've barely had time to breathe. That's how I feel at the moment. So yeah, hopefully my voice recovers by the time we hit round 5. So yeah, that then is the end of the evening. That's round 4 complete, officially now halfway into the season. I cannot believe it's already that time of the season, but it is. So join us next week again, Friday, 7 p.m. BST, wherever you are in the world. 7 p.m. BST, that's the time that we do this. Friday evenings, again, the race format changes every time, so I can't say join us for, 2.5 hours of racing, but it usually is. It's roughly around 2.5 hours of racing. But join us next week for round 5 at the Hungaroring, and hopefully we'll see you all there. Good night.